It was at this moment I felt defeated. I had a whole video planned for the Holi Festival in Nepal. I even prepped this score for it. But here I am, telling the camera how gutted I was, because as opposed to my original plan of arriving the afternoon before Holi, which according to my research was meant to occur on March 21st this year, I arrived at the reception desk of my hotel, not only to be told that my room was overbooked and I had to be relocated elsewhere, but that the primary festivities of Nepali Holi were celebrated a whole day prior to that of India, which meant I arrived too late on the wrong day. Stupid, right? Of course, I had nobody to blame except for myself, and I'm pretty sure at this point, I had already looked up how much a one-way flight would cost for me to go back to Bangkok. But I knew I would only end up kicking myself in the ass if I gave up, because that does not align with the values that I follow. So I promptly walked out of my hotel after grabbing my camera in hopes of making the best of the rest of that afternoon in Kathmandu. Although I didn't feel fully redeemed, I had some time to sleep on it and gather my thoughts. So the thing about Kathmandu is its affinity for controlled chaos. It definitely brings on some challenges, especially in framing and anticipating moments, because windows of opportunity often get smaller due to the volume of people present. But you can use this to your advantage by using physical properties and using that to introduce depth into your images or video, especially if you have something like a 50mm lens, short telephoto lens, or a zoom lens at your disposal. Now, of course, beware of your spacing, because you can easily get consumed by the continuum of culture that runs amok throughout the narrow streets, especially in the touristy areas of Tamil. Now, one thing to keep in mind is to not neglect the alleyways that provide temporary refuge from the ongoing traffic, because they have the capacity to trap light in very interesting ways from what I've found, especially in the mornings when the surroundings and the environment are just starting to wake up. If I ever do return to Kathmandu, I would love to try and stray away from the touristy areas and dwell more so in the local areas to get a good grasp of normal day-to-day activities of Nepali life. But it's definitely been a challenge, especially after how everything has panned out. But what else can you do? You either make a way or make way. But it's definitely been a test. Kathmandu is the city where the dust never settles. Most definitely. So one thing I forgot to mention was I noticed that men here openly hold hands freely in public, and I thought it was just because of the Holi Festival, but I had inquired about it and I learned that it's a common thing, and it's simply a sign or a display of friendship amongst males here in Nepal. And I found that quite interesting because, in contrast to back home, it would be considered a means to question one's masculinity, as where here it's just another common aspect of life and display of friendship. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I appreciate the contrast as to back home, because it definitely opens your eyes to the differences in culture, especially when it comes to something like the boundaries of male friendship. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. All in all, my decision to stay reminded me just how colorful and chaotic Kathmandu can be as an urban jungle. And it seems to be one of those cities that will always try its best to test both my might and my resilience. Alas, in the process of being humbled and grounded yet once again, it was necessary to remember that the ability to travel like I do is a blessing and a privilege, and to throw away opportunities to learn lessons both old and new would be unjust. More importantly, I would like to thank you for taking the time out of your day or night to listen to these words of mine, and I hope it can be of help if you ever encounter disappointment or adversity on the road. So always remember, where there is a will, there is a wayfarer. And until next time, Passport Kenny, checking out.